It's a wonderful day to test the panels. However, we're gonna have to test these another day. This is what I built. So these are the frames, and this is kind of the arrangement that I was talking about. So we're tiling the solar panels, the mini solar panels, into 6-volt panels, and then we'll tie 2 together to make 12 volts. So we'll run some tests soon to see how well that these solar panels perform. Okay, so the next step that we would have to do is make some kind of brackets, and so that way they mount to the sides of the frame. And then once they're mounted to the sides of the frame, we can tie the wires together to make an entire 12 volts. All right, so we are finally here at assembly. It's always cool to see a project come to life and develop, you know, because I had these panels sitting away for a while. It's good to finally get them out. Here are the low profile brackets that I did, of course, in Blender, as you can see here. These are gonna line up the thinner panels, which I put at the top over here. And what we're gonna do, being that the smaller profile, and I wish I would have, these are the bigger profile brackets for the solar panels with the bigger bezel. As you can see, they fit just like that. But I really should have made the base on one side in and you know, flatter, so that way they meet up without any gaps in between each panel. But you'll see how that goes as I develop it. So let's go ahead and get to assembly, and I'll show you how these brackets hold the panels in place. Okay, I must say, so far so good. The brackets are doing their job. I just kind of used the power drill to kind of like bring them in a little bit, then I hand tighten them so I don't crack the plate. But as you can see, they're holding real nice and tight, not coming out, and I've only got 2 in. So I've got one here, one there. So I'm gonna be listening to my woodworking podcast, and then we will install 2 more brackets. All right. And I'm just hand tightening these right here. This is plenty hold. I'm lifting it from the panel itself. This is perfect. So I'll probably leave a link in the description for these particular brackets if you want to print them out or pick some up. Okay, so that's 4 in, and I'm just gonna work my way down. I might do another low profile panel followed by the ones with the thicker bezel, and we'll see what we come out with. Later on, I might go ahead and go with the short back on the bigger brackets, but we'll see how it all comes together. Okay, so I got 2, as you can see, of the low profile brackets. We're gonna get them off the tops. Now, if you see, like, this is just glue. But let me zoom in so you can see what we're working with as far as the bracket. There it is. And I'm just gonna take my tools and knock it off because we need these to go ahead and mount down that second panel. And here's just the lattice support, and I made it just simple, so you just pop that right off, and there's your bracket right here. Nice little design, simple. All right, I'm ready to mount. Here goes the second one. Like I said, you have to flip it to give it both directions. So I'm gonna go ahead and, so you can see that, let me go ahead and get that in focus. There it is, and this part comes off. Let's see if I can go ahead and pop that off on camera. And here we are. It's just a matter of popping that little piece off. This is just a lattice support, and I'll show what I'm talking about with that. If I can get the camera in focus. Okay, yeah, so here is just a little lattice support. Because if you have overhangs, you need to give it some kind of support. There it is. And this is the part we want right here. All right, let's get these things mounted up. Now, I like how this is lining up here. It actually, ironically, fits in between the brackets of here. Now, I did design another one in thought of that I would need a piece this way. And so we're going to get that started on the printer in a moment. But it's just a flat piece without this L-shaped angle. As you can see there's the L. And I could just butt it up right up against this bracket and screw it in. So let's get that one printed. Okay, that's pretty good. So now let's go ahead over to the printer and I'll show you the different style bracket that I have for these. Okay, I want to bring you in on the bracket itself. See, this one has no particular it has no particular edge leading to the left or the right, and I did this to fit in those areas where I just wanted a flat piece to hold it down, and just to give you a good look of what we're going to print before we print it. So here we got good news. Just want to show you what it's doing. We got 3 fans on. This is running the 6 volt configuration, and this little guy, it only allows you to run up to 5 watts. So we're just doing this as a test, but we're gonna see what full potential we can get out of it. So we got 3 fans running on low right now. Okay, I done tied them all up. There we go. So that's the finished panel. So we're gonna make one more panel just like it, so we can set up a 6 volt or 12 volt configuration and see if we can run something more powerful or charge a battery. All right, but the system, as you can see, is working good. All right, let me get you a shot of it coming back, and it just to prove that it is working, I'm gonna roll this panel off. You just pay attention to the fan. It should cut off. There go the fans, they all shut off. Okay, so we've tested the solar panel and we know that it works. So the next step here is we got to get this thing wired up in a nice neat way. And I'm going to use connectors here because I want to be able to disconnect and put it on 6 volt mode or 12 volt mode whenever I want to. So we got a couple tools here: crimper, wire stripper, some solder, and yes, we'll see if we can run the soldering iron off of solar. So I just cut each one of these to of about, you would say, 20 inches. And the reason why I did that is I didn't need all this extra cord. Let me grab it from the bottom here on the floor. This cord I'm going to use for other things. For right now, the longer your cord is, it drops your, current. So I wanted to shorten the cords up, get connectors on them, and basically so we have a little bit stronger force when the electric comes through. So let's go ahead and get to it. Okay, now we got all 4. What I'm thinking, now that I look at this, is maybe I could line up once it's all wired up. Put a heat shrink tubing on there and make it nice and tight. Yeah, I think I'll do that. Let's twist them up first. So there's a red twist right there. Let's get the black twisted up. Okay, here are our leads. We got the red lead and the black lead. Let's get some heat shrink tubing on this to make it a little stronger. Okay, that should do it. So let me bring you in so I could show you what I got. Let's turn the gun off for a second. Okay, so we have the red lead, which I represented in green. Let me see if I get this in the focus. Red lead, which I represent in the green. Black lead, which I put black on and just strung it together. Now we can add our connectors, and I'm gonna back up the connectors with some solder as well, then heat shrink on top of that. Chosen my connectors. I'm gonna go ahead and crimp these on first, and then we'll back it up with some solder. Better on first. And the reason why I'm saying that, you'll see momentarily. I can heat shrink this, and then I can just add the male end to it. And I think I can trim this down and solder that. Yeah. Essentially, you can see like a little copper right there. I always back up my copper with solder, and then just back up my copper here, little piece of copper with solder, and then I heat shrink over top the whole thing. And since it's a socket, it's better. because the heat shrink can cover and you can still get a great connection. All right, let's crimp it. I have a safe but unorthodox method of making my power and my electronics. Like I said, this is Scavenger, so you can have a little fun with it as long as it's safe. You want to use some good parts. So that's crimped and nice and neat. Now we can get the other connector on, and if they're good, I'll back it up with some solder. And to me, it's okay if the plastic melts just a tad. That doesn't bother me. That just lets me know some heat getting on it. And let's trim that. And I don't need all the excess copper, just enough to get a bead of solder in there to lock it in. That way it's good when you try to pull on it. All right, let's see if we can get that connector back on, and then we'll clamp that on as well. So she's crimped, nice and neat. Let's see. And my battery's about to die out, so I'll see if I can solder them up and then heat shrink them, and then I'll show you the finished product. Okay, so if I can get close enough to it, okay, there you go. So you can see the solder points there, and that's good enough for me. It's already crimped nice, but always back it up with solder, and then we're gonna heat shrink. Nice and neat, and then we'll just get the back of the panel nice and neat. This is ready to go, guys. So we've got a 6-volt setup, and if we want to connect it in series or parallel, we just connect the wires differently. Okay, so now we've got all our bases covered. The panels work together. We've also got our heat shrink and protected connectors. We've also got the wires shortened up. We've also got all of our brackets to hold the panels in place. And the only thing we would really need to do is to protect the frame by painting it to keep carpenter bees or whatever from burring holes in it, and just keep it weathered and protected. So that is essentially how we're gonna build our panel units. So 4 smaller panels, all connected in, I believe, series, all to one. And then, parallel to one. And then if we want to make 6-volt or 12-volt, we connect them in series. All right, so let's build the other panel just the same, and then we will get some readings with a 12-volt system connected. Okay, right now it's about 4 in the evening, and there are your panels right there. I'm just showing you the setup while that little battery right here is charging. All right, we're gonna let it charge up. I was running the fan here before, about say 2-3 minutes. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna let the battery charge up a little bit, maybe 30 minutes, and then we're gonna run the fan again. So I was able to run it on low, medium, and high. All right, but this is a tiny little battery here, so it ain't gonna run too long. But let me let it charge, and then we're gonna run it. Okay, right now we're sitting at 13.1. As you can see, the shadow's about to catch the panels. Okay, so we're gonna do one more test just before the sun goes down to see if we can get this little battery here to run the fan again. All right, so I'm gonna plug up the inverter. Let's see what we can do. All right, we're still at 13.1, and the inverter is lit and went down to 13. So let's see if it's enough. It's enough to run it a little bit, but we're probably gonna have to let it charge for the whole day. But it is in and out, intermittent. I'm gonna go ahead and turn it off. And we'll run the small fan just to show you it is working. It should be able to run the small fan, no problems. Okay, and we got a light over here. Let's see if it can run both. Alright, so on, that's working. So, and we are running the fan. We probably can run maybe 2 more appliances on it, no problem. 12.4, it's almost 6 o'clock. So you can get power kicking off around 9 o'clock. Right now the sun is coasting, so the sun is doing the work right now. The battery is doing very little. That's all sun. All right. So we're gonna bring it in and talk more about what we got going on. But that's the setup. All right. And I'm just happy that this worked out. And so now I got more plans to get more of these little tiny solar panels and then tile them up into one panel. So it actually did work. There's your fan. Plenty of power.